Namaste. Technology has really benefited us in the modern lifestyle. We are ever connected with everyone across the world. We have beautiful tools to help us share our messages, and also we have information on our fingertips, and we have convenience of having everything at a doorstep. But this has been at the cost of us losing our patience. And if you see the way these things are designed, one is it is creating more convenience in our lifestyle. It's creating more comfort, but it's also made us more impatient. Because when we don't find these things instantly, naturally the mind is expecting them to happen right away. And in the real life, outside the virtual world, things take time. I'm talking about times before and even after the pandemic that we will have to wait in queues. We will have to have patience in everything. And this is so important because in any project, any dream or any venture that we pursue, patience is very important because we will never get results overnight and we always have to persevere. And this also applies to the yoga practice on the mat. Many times the mind will get impatient and want changes overnight. And sometimes these practices can have long-lasting effects and benefits, but we have to have patience to really witness them. If we do something for a few weeks or even months, and then we switch to another because we're not seeing the benefit, naturally we won't see it for the long term because it takes a lot of time to be established firmly in a practice. And this practice, or any sadhana for that matter, be it your Hatha Yoga sadhana or Raja Yoga sadhana or whatever on the mat, or even any sadhana or anything we want to gain mastery over off the mat, such as starting a new business or any new creative project or even sustaining a relationship. All of these requires patience. The senses will always be deluded by our sense objects. We'll always have so many temptations and we'll always be looking for novelty and variety, but ultimately what gives results and growth is how much patience we have and how we sustain and consistently stick to one thing for the longest time. And this starts by how we approach our practice on the mat. That means practicing one thing for a long time, not jumping from one style to another or one source to another or one practice to another. Choosing one thing, sticking with it for a long time, and then observing the results. If it's not working after a while, then maybe switch. But any practice, when we do it for a long time, uninterrupted with faith, that's when we truly see the results and the benefits of it in the long term. Another way we can practice more patience is by being really aware of how we consume information. Social media, the tool we use to consume and share and connect, it has a flaw in its design. And I'm saying this bluntly because when any product is training the mind to consume content in 30 seconds, 10 seconds, it's creating impatience in the mind because we're conditioning the mind to move from one activity to another in 10 seconds. Also, features such as watching content or listening to content at 1.5x, 2x. We're trying to save time, I understand, but are we really absorbing anything in the process? And secondly, when we go back to a regular human interaction in person, we'll feel impatient because that person is not going to speak at 1.5x. And that's why we'll get distracted, check the phone, or we'll interrupt. So it's very important to also moderate how we consume the content. And I would say consume more long-form content. Avoid these short-term dopamine hits by consuming these short-form content. And engage in long-form content. Go back to the good old books and really understand how life was without technology, and there is a lot of joy in it. And another way we can have more patience is by really taking up a goal and then working towards it without distractions and not changing the path. So instance, if you have a sankalpa or a resolve that you're determined to leave a habit, stick with it and not just give up after a few days. These are a few ways on how you can really cultivate patience. I do my best to practice this. Sometimes I fail, sometimes I succeed, but we can keep trying to really improve the way we are consuming information. I strongly recommend be watchful of the information you consume the duration of the information you consume. Try to consume everything at 1x, the normal speed. It'll really help the mind have more patience, and consume long form content over short form. And secondly, practice more patience on the mat. That means stick to one practice, technique or source for a long while, see the results, and then gauge for yourself. And lastly, take up a goal or a vision or a project and work on it consistently for a long duration of time, and not change from one to another. The mind will have many ideas, but to execute one and stick to one is very important. And you'll notice that this patience will translate very well into our relationships. We will be more patient with our partners, parents, family, friends. It will also help us be more patient with the world, the way the world is heading, in whichever direction. It will also ultimately help us have more patience with ourselves, be it on the spiritual path or even in the material realm. So, patience is indeed a virtue, and it is in our hands of how we really consume and really watch our habits and really work towards things with perseverance, consistency, and patience. If you have stuck around till the end of the video, I thank you for watching this. Have a wonderful day ahead. Namaste.